Mom shocked by her baby after birth. Her words now spread like forest fire. Sometimes in life, we are challenged and sometimes more than others. But above all else, this story is about overcoming obstacles. Little Brenna and her parents are a reminder of how parents' love is unconditional, no matter what the obstacles. Some parents are different than others. Some give away their children just because of the way they look, and the best of kind of parent giving unconditional love to their children. It is, we think, a great thing to show people stories, the best kind, where they can have an inspiration and to help them find their own strength and realize that no challenge is too big if you have a little support and inspiration. Also, there is a message really to those people that might be tempted to judge anyone based on the way they look. Courtney and Ivan Westlake lived their lives very happily with their son Connor. They then realized that Courtney was pregnant again. The couple was really and completely overjoyed with the news of her pregnancy. They really wanted to expand their family that little bit more. They were really looking forward to being parents again to another baby. Their first ultrasound was fast approaching and they were quite impatient for the time to arrive. Each time they went to the hospital, they were told by the doctors that all was well with their baby and they were happy with her progress. Then a few months into the pregnancy, it was discovered that Courtney and Ivan found out that they were going to have a girl and their son was going to have a little sister. The family was all in all super happy and the couple planned everything they wanted to do and what the little baby would do for the all of them. Ivan the dad said, "I will have to learn to breed her now." Just before New Year's Eve was the big day. The little girl was born, but all the plans they made were completely crushed. They called their daughter Brenna. Sadly, she was born covered in thick white scales. She didn't move, she was too hot, and her little body was covered in sores. What a sad and scary moment for both parents. Brenna had to be taken to intensive care straight away so she could even have a chance of survival. Her parents held her for the first time some 2 weeks after their daughter was born. Brenna had been born with hereditary disease. It was quite serious. It's called Herculean Echiosis. The disease causes Brenna to grow skin on her body around 10 times faster than it should. Redness all over her body is caused by the exaggerated growth. It also causes problems with her eyes and her mouth too. Even her nose and ears are affected. The disease has no known cure and is often fatal. So sad for this poor little girl. All the complications caused by Herculean Echiosis makes it very challenging to cope with the just normal, or as close to normal as they can make life for her. It was long, hard road ahead for the whole family. Many people didn't understand what was going on with the little girl and what is turned point at her, make loud comments or ask many questions about Brenna. It was hard. Courtney feels really sad sometimes. She understands that other children are curious though because of how she looks. The thing that upsets Courtney the most is the reactions from other parents. How they pulled their children away from Brenna. Their ignorance is upsetting. How she sees them tell their children to be quiet as they approach Brenna. If it was perfect world, then the ideal situation for Courtney would be that parents went up to her and Brenna and instead they look away and leave the playground, and that is the worst of all things to do. Brenna is a very proud little girl, and she is quite confident in herself too. She doesn't let anyone make her feel down at all. With the support from her family, she really is strong. Big brother Connor also really supports his little sister too. Of course, he loves her. Courtney said, "Why do parents try to avoid talking to people who look different? What are they afraid of? They could just come up to me and ask how old Brenna is. When their child asks why Brenna is so red and swollen, why cannot they just be honest and say, I don't know? But it doesn't matter how we look. We are all unique." Even though they have really challenging day, Ivan, Connor, and Courtney are really proud of what they achieve and how they cope and support each other, and with a good reason too. Without fail, each night Ivan pats his daughter really carefully and gently. It must be done every single day. The same guy that he joked about learning to braid his daughter's hair now messages the rich cream she has to have in every day into her scaly skin that just keeps growing. The disease has a kind of side effect. The Brenna doesn't have much hair, but every day that comes the hair she does have carefully. Brenna is just like other children in most other ways, and she really loves her family. She adores playing with her big brother, and of course, bedtime stories too, with Dad and Big Bro. Brenna's mommy and daddy are quite rightly convinced that she can do whatever she wants, and suits her mind and too in life, and why shouldn't she? Courtney now writes every day about her family and her life. She has also read in a book called A Different Beautiful. It was published back in August 2016. The family really hopes that the book will convey their emotional story and to help others to understand and appreciate others who may look different. Herculean Echiosis is a severe genetic disorder that affects the skin. Infants with these conditions are born prematurely with very hard, thick skin covering most of their bodies. The skin forms large, diamond-shaped plates that are separated by deep cracks, fissures. These skin abnormalities affect the shape of the eyelids, nose, mouth, and ears, and limit movement of the arms and legs. Restricted movement of the chest can lead to breathing difficulties and respiratory failure in babies with Herculean Echiosis. Affected infants also have feeding problems. The skin normally forms a protective barrier between the body and its surrounding environment. The skin abnormalities associated with the Herculean Echiosis disrupt this barrier, making it difficult for affected infants to control water loss, regulate their body temperature, and fight infections. Infants with Herculean Echiosis often experience an excessive loss of fluids, dehydration, and develop life-threatening infection in the first few weeks of life. Following the newborn period, the hard skin plates are shed and the skin develops widespread scales and redness. It used to be very rare for affected infants to survive the newborn period. However, with intensive medical support and improved treatment, babies with the disorder now have a better chance of living into childhood and early adulthood. Treatment. Constant care is required to moisturize and protect the skin. The hard outer layer eventually peel off, leaving the vulnerable inner layers of the dermis exposed. Early complications result from infection due to fissuring, hyperkeratotic plates, and stress due to physical restrictions of a chest wall expansion. Management includes supportive care and treatment of hyperkeratosis and skin barrier dysfunction. A humidified incubator is generally used. Intubation is often required until nares are present. Nutritional support with tube feeds is essential until eclampsia resolves and infants can begin nursing. Ophthalmology consultation is useful for the early management of ectropia, which is initially pronounced and resolves all the scales are shed. Liberal application of botulinum is needed multiple times a day. In addition, careful debridement of constructive bands of hyperkeratosis should be performed to avoid digital schema. We think that Brenna is beautiful just the way she is, don't you? Let's all share this wonderful story with the friends and family. We really hope that this story and the book helps dispel prejudices people have about this condition.